Hey, good morning, sports bettors. Matt Modak here with OddsJam. I know it's Sunday. I know we got a ton of NFL bets and games today, but we also have a pretty decent slate of NBA games, pretty good amount. So I'm here to give you my NBA player prop best bets for today. Again, we got a ton of games on the slate here today. So let's get right into it. Of course, using OddsJam, using the positive expected value page to find all of these player prop bets, all mathematically profitable, all have an edge over the sportsbook. So let's get right into it. Play number one, John Collins over 26 and a half points, rebounds, assists. This play is at BetMGM. I like BetMGM. They're a pretty good sportsbook. They have me heavily limited specifically on player props. I can sometimes not even get $10 on these player props. But for those of you at home who are unit sizing for this, I recommend putting 3/4 of a unit on this one. That's kind of how I have my player prop unit sizing set up. Not quite a half unit, also not quite a full unit, 3/4 unit. John Collins over 26 and a half points, rebounds, assists in the Hawks versus Clippers game. So this bet is found at BetMGM at -105 odds. So that's the play. Let's talk about why I like it. Number one, and this goes for any play that shows up here on the positive EV page, it's mathematically profitable. What does that mean? There is some sort of inherent edge that we have for this bet. And the edge all comes from these no vig odds here. So one little secret about sports betting is that all sports books across the entire sports betting landscape, they all have different odds, every single one. Look at this screenshot here. We see -105, -110, up to -136. Pretty wide range, right? Well, not every single sports book is going to be correct every single time in terms of how they have their odds priced. Some of them are going to be incorrect. And what this means is that over the course of time, historically, some sports books are historically more accurate than others. So what OddsJam did was test previous betting opportunities, thousands of them, to determine who is the most historically accurate sports books, which ones are the most historically accurate, and then they pull odds from those sports books, remove the vig, which is just the juice that sports books price odds, and that all spits out these no vig odds that you see here. So that's why these odds are so powerful and why OddsJam, the positive EV betting, is so powerful. Because if you just think about it from a holistic view, these X amount of sports books consistently are the best at pricing odds, consistently. So we're going to use them to set the market moving forward and then scan lines from all of the major sports books for every single market and then provide opportunities where we are getting better odds. And when I say better odds, I mean better for the sports bettor, which means higher payout, more money, than what these no vig odds are calculated to be. That's exactly what we have here. No vig odds at -114.42. BetMGM is giving this to us at -105. It's about a 9-cent gap between what the perfect line should, or what the true line, what the OddsJam perfect line prices it at, and what BetMGM is giving us. That's why all these bets are profitable. But that doesn't mean I just blindly take every single one. There's some additional looking into that I recommend doing. And when I say looking into, I don't mean like check his matchup, check his stats, check whatever. I mean, look at where every other sportsbook prices it, because we know that BetMGM has the profitable bet at -105. What we don't know is where all the other sportsbooks price it. And what we're looking for here is the bet we are placing an outlier or not? Well, let's look. -105 is what we're betting. There's one sportsbook that's close at -110. Every other book, and you could ignore underdog because they have the same implied odds for every single play, so they don't count in this exercise. Look at every other book. -127, -130, and -136. Pretty decently priced above. In this case, above means more likely to occur, right? They're making it more expensive, which is them telling you they think it's more likely to hit than the -105. And then for player props specifically, sharp sports books that we look for to kind of set the market, Pinnacle and Bet Online. -136, -130. Check. Good bet. That's why I like this John Collins one. 26 and a half, over 26 and a half points, rebounds, assists, -105 at BetMGM. That's bet number one. So we are going to skip this Josh Giddey one. The outlier wasn't there. Didn't think it was good enough to take. And we're going to take this Tyrese Maxey over 22.5 points. Again, this is at BetMGM in the Sixers versus Pistons game. Minus 125 is what BetMGM is giving us. The no vig odds price this at about minus 126. So a little bit of a smaller gap, still a gap nonetheless, making this a profitable bet. And then if you look at the other sports books, again, we can ignore this case Prize Picks. Pinnacle has it all the way up at minus 167. Caesars has it at minus 148. And then one thing what we can do with a stat like points, even points, rebounds, assists, if you click view event page in a new tab, what it does is pull up where every single sportsbook prices the stat line of Tyrese Maxey's player points. Right now, the screenshot is just showing us his over under 22.5. But this doesn't mean that every single sportsbook has his point total over under at 22.5. They might have it below, they might have it above. Since we're taking an over since we're taking him to go over 22.5, we want to make sure the rest of the markets price his point total above this amount. So let's check it out. So let me zoom out just a little bit so we can see everything. So as we can see here, Tyrese Maxey 22.5. The other sports books that price it 1 point higher at 23, or half point higher, or 1 full point higher at 23.5, including Bet Online, which is a sharp book, has it at 23.5. That's a good sign. That is in our favor. So not only does, if we're looking at the entire landscape of this Tyrese Maxey bet, we are getting it at minus 125, a little bit juiced, but not only does every single sportsbook that prices it at 22.5 juice it even over the amount that we are taking it, and if they don't price it at 22.5, they think they have its over under above 22.5. So no matter how you slice it, every sportsbook is telling us the most likely scenario here is that Tyrese Maxey is going to score more than 22.5 points, and majority of them have that juiced even higher than the minus 125 we are getting. So this is why I like this Tyrese Maxey one as my second NBA player prop for today. Another one on BetMGM. So that's play number 2. Play number 3, in this one, I'm only going to put a half of a unit on, a little bit of a lower unit size. Kevin Durant under 1.5 made threes. So I understand that this bet feels gross because Kevin Durant's incredible. He's having probably, one of the best seasons of his entire career. He's just been amazing this year. But it's a really good play to bet on him going under 1.5 made threes. Now, this is not me saying this is the most likely scenario, but if you consistently bet on plays that are all the way up at plus 162, you only need to win, if you win 40% of your bets at plus 162 odds, you are profiting. And here's what I mean by that. So if you go to calculators, odds converter calculator, you can basically convert the odds you are betting to the probability that bet hits. So if you type in plus 162, that only needs to hit 38.17% of the time in order to, this is your break-even number. So if we hit this bet 40% of the time, that means we only need to win 4 out of 10 times. We're literally making money on this bet. And we know that it's going to hit more likely than what the plus 162 odds dictate because it's mathematically profitable. The no vig odds have this at plus 161.5. So again, lower unit size on this one, only half a unit. The first two, I recommend 3/4 of a unit. So we're unit sizing down based on the fact that the bet's unlikelier to hit than not. But if it does hit, it's a significantly higher payout because of the odds. And then look at the 162. So Bet Rivers, it's kind of close, 7 cents lower at plus 155. Every other book, some all the way down at plus 123, plus 145. Pinnacle at plus 138. Bet Online at plus 144. It's a good sign here. This is play number 3. Then last up, we're looking at John Collins to go under 15.5 points. This is at plus 105 at DraftKings. No vig odds price it below this amount. Look at every other sports book. That it looks like the closest one is at minus 110. We see some sports books actually favor the under, which we are getting for plus money at plus 105. Another situation where you don't need to win 50% of the time to be profitable. We see odds range from minus 110 down to minus 130. The only book that is offering this for any sort of plus money is DraftKings at plus 105, telling us that this is a good bet. So this is my fourth and final player prop for today. If If you're tailing these, comment and let me know. We'd love to hear it. But that's all I got. So appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.